Good morning. Welcome to morning meeting. So here's what's on my mind this morning. So the other day, my husband comes in and it's like afternoon and I'm in the middle of making lunch or something, and he comes in and he says, "Hey, there's a snake in the truck." I'm like, "What do you mean there's a snake in the truck? Like in the truck?" He says, "No, there's a snake on the engine in the truck." I'm like, "Really? How big?" He's like, "I don't know. It's big." I'm like, so not a garter type snake. So like a bull snake? He says, "Probably." I'm like, "Oh, cool." So I gotta come look. And so I grab my daughter. I'm like, "Hey, let's go look. There's a snake in the truck." So we get out there, all three of us, and he opens up. He's got the hood up and everything. And I'm looking, and I'm like, "There's two snakes." He's like, "What?" He said, "There's two. There's two snakes in here, and they were kind of big. I'm not gonna lie, they were kind of big." I said, "Okay, but do you want me to get rid of them?" And he's like, "Yeah, if you can." I said, "Okay." So I go and I in the house and I grab this stick that I have that sometimes I take with me when I go walking. And so I come back and I'm like, "I'm gonna need a ladder because I can't get to the snakes. One's towards the back of the engine block, one is kind of nestled a little bit lower than the front." So he goes and gets this ladder. I get up on the ladder and I like just kind of nudge one of them, and I hear this rattle and I'm like, "Wait, what?" Now I live in a place where there aren't rattlesnakes. There shouldn't be. If there's a rattlesnake here, someone brought the damn thing, right? So they're not here. I'm like, "Wait, what?" So I back up. I'm like, let me think on this a minute. I need to make sure I can see the tail of these things so that I'm not dealing with something I don't want to deal with. And they weren't. They weren't. They're bull snakes in all likelihood. So something must have just rattled when I made one of them move. But they nestled themselves deeper and deeper in. I was hoping I could startle them and get them to just come out the bottom of the truck or something, but they weren't having it. They just weren't having it, and they kept the one that was in the front moved towards the back where the other one was, and I'm like, "Damn, how am I gonna get these snakes out?" Like, you know what? We could flush them out. That was my next idea. I just flush them out. And my husband's like, maybe we'll just leave them. Maybe they'll just go away. I'm like, yeah. I mean, if you just let them sit there, eventually they might go away. I mean, you don't want to get in the truck and then start it up and try and drive and then splatter. That would be disgusting, right? But that got me thinking about a few things. First of all, I do love snakes. I don't have a problem with snakes, and I'm careful when I handle them, and wear gloves and blah blah blah. If I can't identify what the snake is, I'm not going to mess with the snake. I figured these were bull snakes because that's what we have around here, so I wasn't too concerned, and they're not particularly aggressive. But here's the thing: they really wanted to dig in and be where they were. They didn't want to move for whatever reason. They really enjoyed where they were, and sometimes that's what we're like, right? We really are resistant to change. We like where we're at, even though we're not really operating in that zone of genius. We might be in our zone of excellence. We might be in that, yeah, I'm good at this. I'm going to keep doing this, but it's not really challenging us anymore. You know what I mean? And I know I've been there. I've been there many times. But sometimes it can be really hard to convince yourself to just make the change. Partly because the amygdala, I talked about that in another video. It helps keep us where we're at because it's got that fear response going. So I'm thinking maybe we shouldn't be like the snakes and get buried in and too comfortable. Because honestly, you only live once, right? So why not move toward that zone of genius consistently? Stay in it. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking about. That's what's on my mind this week. And it just keeps coming up. And the snakes, they just reminded me. So there you go. See you later.